Good morning, girls. This is our 7th Bible study, and it's going to be on Mary of Bethany. And I hope everybody's doing well, and I hope you're enjoying these Bible studies. Mary of Bethany. Mary means bitterness. Her character, Mary, appeared to be a single woman, totally devoted to Jesus. The Gospel portrays her by the way of contrast with her sister, which we'll be studying her next, is Martha, as a woman of few words. As Jesus neared the time of his triumphant entry into Jerusalem, prior to the Passover, she performed a great gesture of great significance, one that offended Judas Iscariot and the disciple who betrayed Jesus. So our key scriptures today will be in Matthew 26, 6 through 13, Mark 14, 3 through 9, Luke 10, 38 through 42, John 11, 1 through 12. If you want to look those up and read those, it'll help you out with this story. Okay, now, the Passover was all able-bodied, ceremonial, clean Jewish men usually accompanied their families, and they were required to attend the Passover in Jerusalem, as well as two other major religious feasts, the Pentecost and the Tabernacle, throughout the year. Well, the Feast of the Passover took place in Nisan, the first month of the ancient Jewish year, which is our April. The most significant feast celebrated by the Jews was the Passover, and it's commemorated by their deliverance from the slavery in Egypt. So now we're talking about Bethany and her brother Lazarus. He was sick, and he was from Bethany's, the village of Mary and her sister Martha. So the sisters sent word to Jesus, "Lord, the one you love is sick." Well, on his arrival, Jesus found that Lazarus had already been in the tomb 4 days. "Take away the stone," he told them. So they took away the stone, and Jesus called out in a loud voice, "Lazarus, come out." And the dead man came out. Jesus said to them, "Take off his clothes and let him go." Well, 6 days before the Passover, Jesus arrived at Bethany. Here a dinner was given Jesus' honor. Martha served, while Lazarus was among those reclining at the table with him. And Mary, she took a pint of pure nard and an expensive perfume, and she poured it on Jesus' feet and wiped his feet with her hair, and the house was filled with the fragrance of the perfume. This was what Mary of Bethany was recognized for. She's been memorialized because that was a symbol of preparing Jesus for his burial. She was a single woman, and she was also very devoted to Jesus. And her main characters was she'd been the recipient of priceless truth from the lips of Jesus. Now she is lavishly communicative. The box of the spinnard, treasured up for such an occasion, was worth 300 pence, a great sum in those days. A penny a day wage means that 300 pennies would cover her wages for almost a year. Well, Mary made that supper a sacrament as she mingled divine poetry with the prose of the situation by anointing Jesus with a bottle of that expensive perfume. When Mary sat at his feet and heard his words, she recognized him as the prophet, and when in her grief she fell at his feet, because she knew him to be the sympathizing high priest. Now, as she anoints his feet, she knows him to be the king, at whose girdle could be found the keys of death and Hades. There are 4 profiles of Mary who accompany her own particular place among the inner groups of the Christ friends. She was a woman who cultivated deep, spiritual, inner thoughts, and who was bustling internally that she was so externally. This inner world charmed her more than it did her sister Martha, as particulars we have to testify of. She was a spiritual scholar. More than anything else, she loved to sit quietly and peacefully at Jesus' feet and become lost in his unfolding of the truth. Mary, more than any other individual in the New Testament, was associated with his feet, betokening her humility, reverence, and hunger for spiritual knowledge. She sat at Jesus' feet as a disciple. She was eager to learn his will and his word, fell at his feet in worship and grief, anointed his feet with precious ointments, and wiped his feet with her lovely long hair, all of which is in keeping with her spiritual character. Without a doubt, Mary loved Jesus. We know that. And she prepared him for his burial. In the Last Supper Jesus ate with his disciples, on that night he was betrayed, in the annual Passover meal.